Imagine if parents had access to expert guidance at their fingertips. Now, you might be thinking that this problem is solved. But if you're a parent who spent months waiting to see a specialist, or has spent hours on Google or Reddit threads only to feel more anxious and worried, or maybe even worse, ended up in an ER, you know it's not true. My name is Swati, and I'm the founder and CEO of Koble, a digital health and well-being platform for parents. Today, we support parents by providing them access to a team of health experts, live and on-demand masterclasses, and one-to-one guidance, all personalized to their stage and their needs. We offer a better experience and a cheaper one in comparison to the alternatives. It's why we have seen 200% month-over-month growth and 5 times more engagement than the alternatives. We're actively investing in our platform and clinical capabilities to help parents throughout their journey of parenthood. We launched our product to market earlier this year and have already secured partnerships with some of the biggest brands in healthcare. We're the only solution in our category to have secured partnership with the Canadian Association of Midwives and Maple, a leading telehealth platform. We also have partnerships in the pipeline with payers and providers across North America to help us reach 50K parents across the US and Canada. So why Koble? Well, first, we're approaching this problem and market differently. 2, we have the domain expertise because we've done this before. My team and I have built products in the past that have helped millions of people across the globe manage their health. And we're supported by some of the world-renowned health experts, such as the CEO of Cleveland Clinic Canada. And look, we're just getting started, and all agree that parents deserve better. Today, we're looking for support with funding and partnerships, really to grow to our next stage of meeting 50K parents. So if you're interested in joining our mission, I'd love to chat. Thank you.
Thank you for that presentation, Swati. It was excellent. I wonder if you could expand a little bit on the statement that you made about how you're approaching the market differently.
Absolutely. So I look at it as 3 key differentiators. First and foremost, we're a platform for the family unit, not just the birthing person, which is what's typically done in the market today. Number 2, we're taking a personalized approach to delivering both the way we care for parents, but also just the knowledge generally. And thirdly, we have the domain expertise. When I look at some of our emerging peers, we know we have the team that can really take this company to a $1 billion company.
Can you talk a little bit, you talked about your partnership with Maple.
Yes.
And I imagine there's a possibility for other similar kinds of partnerships. So where does the line get drawn, I guess, between an advice-giving platform by experts who might even be practitioners on a platform like Maple?
Yeah.
Like, where's the stop point, and how do you protect your own liability, but also from infringing on sort of their expertise and what they're running their business to do?
Absolutely. No, it's a great question. So Maple and Maple's-like platforms, they are very focused on primary care. So what we've learned thus far over the last 6 to 12 months is they're looking to build a domain expertise within family health, maternal health, and so on, which is what we help them with. So that's just first and foremost, difference in how we deliver different services. Second is we're looking at it from a platform approach. So it's not just Koble's providing services to Maple. Maple is also, in the long term, open to providing services to Koble. So Koble's not really building, a network of providers across Canada from scratch. That's really not our desire. I've built networks of providers before. It's very hard and expensive. So really grateful that we have these opportunities to partner, a true partnership to bring this to life. And then lastly, we know what Koble offers. It's a lot around this unique way of delivering group care and content. And that's not something some of these providers are really looking to do immediately, and hence are excited about the partnership.
So I'm imagining that within your app, there could be an advice-giving component and now you need to speak to a medical professional, click here to link to, is that sort of the idea?
And Maple's one example, right? It depends on the coverage someone has. Of course. They might have Dialogue, or in the US, they might have Teladoc. We really want to ensure that there's that plug-and-play capability embedded from day one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Would you be able to expand on what you mean by delivering content to parents? Just that can mean there can be such a wide amount of things covered in that?
Yeah, so we started with a nuance of how do we bring the masterclass-like approach to healthcare. So today we have about 16 type of experts who offer live masterclasses, which are then converted into on-demand content, which we know parents are super busy, and we want them to have the ability to watch it at 2 a.m. if they're struggling with breastfeeding. So right now our content is primarily video-based. It's all proprietary to Koble. Do we see in the future potentially partnering to bring in external content? Perhaps, but that's what the structure is today. Number 2 is our written content, which is created by our experts and audited by our Chief Medical Officer, Yolanda Kirkham, to again provide that written content over to parents. Because we've learned parents, while they love the videos, they also want a diversity in content type. So those are the 2 examples today, and we'll continue to look at other ways as well.
Can you describe the parent experience a little bit? Like,
Sure.
Are there live interactions, or is it just content that they're able to access more efficiently through the site?
Absolutely, happy to describe. So imagine, your daughter's just given birth, or your niece has just given birth, and they're struggling with breastfeeding. So they'll open Koble, which has already been personalized based on the journey they are in, which is, I recently gave birth. They'll open Koble and they'll see an upcoming group session with a lactation consultant. They'll book that, schedule that for, say, tomorrow. When the session arrives, they'll be getting a notification from Koble to say, hey, Caitlin, a lactation consultant is going live. There's like X number of parents joining along. Come on board. So they'll open the app and they'll be able to join this group session where they can interact with other parents through chats and or ask questions to the lactation consultant. Oh, I'm having trouble latching. Do you have ways in which I could adjust? And in this scenario, a lactation consultant would have like a dummy doll to show how to effectively latch. So it's that interactive. And it's not only isolated to expert parent, but also parents to parents.
So I'm curious about 2 pieces to, like, what does the customer kind of life cycle look like right now in your experience? And also, what is the target client? Like, what are you, we're talking a lot about sort of new parents, breastfeeding, those kind of early days sort of issues that might precede having the baby up to, a year or 2 old. Is that sort of where your target market sits? And do you see expanding that? And then in second, how does the customer life cycle kind of relate to that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question because we're building this big vision for the future, but today we support parents from their first trimester to their child's first birthday.
Okay.
We've recently introduced, because we know pregnancy is not a linear journey, we've introduced loss and miscarriage support to ensure that they have grief and support groups available. And that's just one example of how we're continuing to add to our capabilities to grow our 18-month life cycle to becoming this 18-year-long life cycle with the parents. What I would say is when parents get excited is when they've recently learned they're pregnant. So right now, when we look at our customer base, 60% of them join when they're pregnant, and then they sort of graduate into the postpartum stage with us all the way till toddlership.
Thanks.
What is the cost to a consumer?
It's a subscription-based solution. So today, at one prenatal course, which is about $200, you can get access to all of Koble's sessions and access to experts. And it's yearly, and then monthly is $20.
Can you talk a little bit about what kind of strategies you'll employ to attract consumers to your digital platform?
Yeah, so we started as a direct-to-consumer solution, and we quickly have pivoted or evolved into becoming a more B2B2C solution, because we realized that partnerships like Maple and Canadian Association of Midwives and in future like Dialogue and League are all going to add to the brand recognition of Koble, and that's what's going to drive the exponential growth. So focused right now on B2B2C, and then thereafter looking at pair partnerships to get into the B2B employer space.
So right now, the B2C people that you signed on are still sort of working their way through. They haven't sort of aged out yet. How are those providers that you've signed on right now bringing you sort of individual paying? I'm just trying to understand fully that revenue model of the B2B2C piece.
Yeah, so Maple is a good example. We have a reseller agreement right now. However, in the future, the conversations we have had with Maple and Dialogue and others is a license partnership so that we can have that content integration. And future, of course, B2B is like a per member per month type of a relationship for a parental benefit that we're packaging together.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, thanks Swati for your pitch today. It was great, and it was really great to hear about your business.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you and appreciate your time. I'm sure you've taken a day out of your everyday, so really helpful. Thank you.